Tonight, employee payout.
It doesn't always go this way. There's not always a win like this. We would feel really good about it.
Union leaders reporting a court victory for laid-off Accuride workers. Plus, escaping the flames.
At that point, I knew that I had maybe 30 seconds before passing out from smoke inhalation.
A tenant's gratitude for their safe rescue during an apartment fire. And archaeological significance.
It certainly is important to understand that this entire community is built on an ancestral landscape.
A Grey Bruce land dispute reaches a resolution.
CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with a major payout for laid-off Accuride employees. They lost their jobs last year when the company declared bankruptcy. As Jerry Dewan reports, their union has secured a multi-million-dollar court victory.
When Accuride closed the doors of the London plant in February of 2025, a surplus was found in the defined benefit pension fund.
When they went bankrupt, the employer took the position it was their money, right? And we said absolutely not.
Unifor 27 President Brian Chapman consulted with the union's national office, and when they didn't offer a solution, Chapman didn't hesitate, hiring a lawyer to try and secure the funds.
We were initially being told it was $2.7 to $2.9 million. And it's actually, when the court order came back, it was $4.7 million.
Now the courts have sided with the union, awarding the surplus to the workers.
Where the hell did that surplus come from, other than the people that were working there paying into it?
Pat Murphy worked at Accuride for 42 years, acting as plant chair during a portion of that time. He credits union leadership for standing by the workers.
If it wasn't for Brian Chapman and our local, we wouldn't have got nothing done.
Well, the building that was once home to Accuride is now being retrofitted to become a multi-use space. The workers who were employed here are also looking to move on with their lives. An employment power center was established at Unifor 27 headquarters after Accuride was shuttered. The power center provides job search supports and training opportunities for workers from various auto-related industries. Originally supposed to be open for just a year, is now being funded until February of 2027.
We're trying to do anything kind of training-wise to get them back on the road to employment.
A court-appointed counsel will determine how the pension money will be distributed, with length of service a principal factor. Chapman says once legal costs are paid, there should be about $4.1 million going to between 300 and 400 people.
It doesn't always go this way. There's not always a win like this. We would feel really good about it, to be honest, even though it's a really bad situation.
The union says there are other outstanding issues, including vacation pay and severance pay, that still have to be worked out. Chapman says that could bring another $500,000 to former Accuride workers. Jerry Dewan, CTV News.
The former owners of a waterfront property in Bruce County have pleaded guilty for disturbing an archaeological site. They had planned to build a new home on the lot, but as Scott Miller reports, a years-long legal battle ensued, a battle they've now lost.
Ontario's Court of Justice took a rare road trip today to the site of an important archaeological site at the center of a potentially precedent-setting court case in Southampton.
I'm essentially standing on a massive and continuous multi-component archaeological site that's existed over millennia.
In November of 2022, the former owners of 6 South Rankin Street in Southampton were issued a stop work order and charged with disturbing an archaeological site after they started site work for construction of a new home. The site was deemed an important archaeological site decades earlier after thousands of Indigenous artifacts were found under the waterfront lot. Following years of legal wrangling, the former owners of 6 South Rankin Street have agreed to plead guilty to disturbing an archaeological site, pay a fine, apologize to the Saugeen First Nation, and most importantly, donate the land back to the Saugeen First Nation for restoration, free of charge.
Today, is a cause for celebration, with the Heritage Act providing accountability for what was done here.
At the request of the Saugeen First Nation, sentencing and tours of the site, along with historical context, took place outside of a regular courtroom today. A unique setting for a unique case that could set precedent for future archaeological disturbances along the Lake Huron shoreline.
It certainly is important to understand that this entire community is built on an ancestral landscape, and there are archaeological sites literally everywhere around us right now.
So what happens with this site now that it's under Saugeen Ojibwe Nation control? Well, the answer is probably nothing. Martin figures much of the archaeological examination of this site is complete. They know it is an ancestral spot. So this spot might just become a ceremonial and sacred spot for the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation for generations to come.
It's the mouth of the Saugeen River. It's only right that Saugeen First Nation be able to be here with their ancestors. So I think maybe that'll take priority over archaeology for the time being.
In Southampton, Scott Miller, CTV News.
Good evening. It was a gray day across the region with some rainfall, especially along the northern shoreline of Lake Erie. Temperatures on the cooler side. Peaks of sunshine earlier and in parts of Midwestern Ontario today. You had a mix of sun and cloud, but you can see the rain that's moving along. This is the cold front that has been making the move across the region through the day today. The heavy rain has eased off towards St. Thomas. Still some rainfall in Port Stanley, but the risk for rain showers will continue through the evening. North of the front, expecting just overcast conditions through Huron and Perth. Grey Bruce, mainly cloudy. The temperature will hover at around 9 degrees over the next hour or so, and then we're down to 5 by midnight with a northwest wind with the passage of the cold front winds out of the northwest. Cool day on the way tomorrow, but we're back to some sunshine. I'll have that forecast for you coming up. Carlyle?
Thanks, Julie. Woodstock police say they've laid a murder charge related to a suspicious death from March. Officers say they were called to a home on March 12th where they found a man's body. Today, police announced 20-year-old Romario Henry faces a second-degree murder charge and he remains in custody. Police say Henry and the victim knew each other, but no other information about the circumstances will be released at this time. 2 people have died in a collision at an intersection in Plimpton, Wyoming. The crash involved a commercial vehicle and a passenger vehicle at Lakeshore Road and Aberard line around 2 this afternoon. A third person suffered minor injuries. That investigation is still ongoing. A London tenant is sharing their story after escaping a serious apartment fire that injured 9 people. With more on that experience and what it was like and why they're calling for better fire education, here's Sean Irvin.
Jamie Warren is recovering inside their apartment 1 month after suffering serious injuries in a blaze at 241 Simcoe Street. Jamie spent over 3 weeks in the hospital.
My airway was really badly burned.
Jamie's ordeal began around 6:30 in the morning of April 4th. Bells suddenly sounded in the building operated by London Middlesex Community Housing. False alarms are common, so Jamie took a few moments before evacuating her 2 cats. The process of getting down the stairs was a slow one, as they normally use a walker or wheelchair to aid with mobility. Around the 8th floor, it became clear it was not a false alarm.
And there was a lot of, the smoke was so thick that I couldn't see anything as soon as it happened.
Then, for an unknown reason, a door to the fire floor suddenly opened.
It suddenly got extraordinarily hot, hotter than I've ever experienced.
Given already compromised health, Jamie knew they were in trouble.
At that point, I knew that I had maybe 30 seconds before passing out from smoke inhalation.
Jamie then called out to firefighters who came to their rescue. They got them down the remaining flights of stairs and into an ambulance. That's when they realized they were more seriously hurt than they thought. Jamie had a burned throat just above their vocal cords. They tell CTV News they were placed in a medically induced coma for several days.
They basically were trying to protect my airways while I recovered enough to be able to breathe.
Released from the hospital just a few days ago, Jamie is working to heal their voice enough to rejoin a local choir. In the meantime, Jamie is trying to find a man experiencing homelessness whom they passed in the stairwell before firefighters rescued him.
And he was not waking up to the alarms.
Looking back, Jamie is grateful to emergency responders and building staff for getting everyone out. Yet they believe fire education is needed for all tenants.
Because it's so much hotter and more dangerous than people realize. It took 1 or 2 breaths of air for me to end up with second-degree burns.
In London, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
A judge in Toronto has convicted 2 women of first-degree murder for the death of a boy they were trying to adopt and the abuse they inflicted on his brother. With more on the case and reaction to the verdict, here's John Woodward.
The things that came out are absolutely horrific. Nobody should have gone through what those kids went through.
A horrific experience inside this Burlington, Ontario home for 2 kids at the hands of their adoptive parents, Brandy Cooney and Becky Hamber. Adoptive parents who clearly hated the 2 boys, the judge found. Texts they tried to delete showed them calling the boys expletives, one a prisoner broken by Officer Hamber, as well as loser, moron, and it. Justice Conlon writing, I find that these disgusting labels were habitually used by both accused because they hated the boys. They loathed them. They deeply resented them having come into their lives and not having turned out to be what was expected. The boys were denied food, forced to exercise, zip-tied into wetsuits, also faced physical abuse. One text between the couple read in court said, you strangled him and threw him down. The 12-year-old died in a barren basement, profoundly underweight. The 10-year-old testified about years of abuse.
What grade 4 kid wants to run away?
Heartbreaking to hear for one educational assistant who said he told her he wanted to play football for McGill.
He was so smart, and he had such an old soul, and he was such a great person. And it really hurts to know that he won't get his dreams. It's just not fair.
There were gasps here in the courtroom in Milton as the judge decided not to stop at convictions for assault, failing to provide the necessaries of life and unlawful confinement, but convicted the couple of first-degree murder. The justice found both Hamilton and Ottawa Children's Aid Societies were negligent, as were some doctors. One boy's second-grade teacher said warnings were ignored.
It still affects me because I don't know what else I could have done to help these kids, and I don't know. I'm sure there's other kids that this happens to too, and there's not enough being done.
Ontario's government acknowledged problems.
We are working right across the system to make sure that we improve child welfare across this province.
A promise made years too late to protect these kids from the convicted killers who were supposed to be their parents. John Woodward, CTV News.
A coroner's inquest resumed today looking into the death of a Sarnia man shot dead by London police. The inquest heard from police use of force experts and why lethal force may have been used on the night in question. With more on the proceedings from day 2, here's Nick Paparella.
A coroner's inquest has heard that 29-year-old Justin Barassa of Sarnia was stopped by police officers in downtown London in the early morning hours of October 28th in 2021. As they were trying to arrest him, there was a physical altercation, and Barassa put one of them in a chokehold. Sergeant Kevin Easton, a use of force trainer with London Police, testified, if you're in a rear naked choke, the level of dominance the person has that's behind you is so great. Once the arm is wrapped around the neck, it's the worst position you can be in. To stop the chokehold, Barassa, a former tennis instructor who dealt with mental health issues, was shot in the neck and chest area. The constables had mistaken Barassa as a suspect in a possible break-and-enter in the Richmond Row area that night. And once he placed the officer in the chokehold, Sergeant Easton was asked why officers wouldn't have simply shot Barassa in the leg or arm to defuse or de-escalate the situation. He said during an imminent threat, officers are trained, our target would be center mass. Being able to shoot someone's extremities would be very difficult. On Wednesday, the inquest is expected to hear from Constable Ryan Hendrick. He is the London police officer who was placed in the chokehold by Barassa. The province's Special Investigations Unit cleared the officers involved of any wrongdoing. Nick Paparella, CTV News.
A multi-billion-dollar announcement from the provincial and federal governments meant to spur housing development has thus far had the opposite effect here in London. As Daryl Newcomb reports, the number of building permits issued since seems to have stalled.
It's not until shovels get in the ground that houses get built.
But it's not until the city issues a building permit that shovels can go in the ground. And at London City Hall, the number of building permits for new homes has declined since this joint housing announcement by the Prime Minister and Premier about spending $8.8 billion to cut municipal development charges also called DCs, in half for 3 years.
If you don't cut DCs, you aren't getting any money.
Without firm details or timelines, city staff say local developers have paused their building permit applications, waiting for those development charges to drop.
Since the federal and provincial announcement on March 30th related to the potential lowering of development charges, there is a hesitancy for applicants to actually want to have their permit issued.
Development charges are fees paid to the municipality to cover new infrastructure costs related to growth, like extending new roads and sewers. Currently, DC charges within London's urban growth boundary range from between about $34,000 on a row house to $50,000 on a single-family home. And those fees are due to be paid when the building permit is issued.
There's just a fear that they might lose out on that reduction of the DCs, so we're very hopeful that there will be a future announcement from the province and the federal government.
In the interim, city staff say they're working with builders and developers to advance their permit applications as far as possible so that when the program does launch, they're ready to go.
I have flagged this personally several times to the CMHC because this is the most critical time for us to get those permits across the finish line.
In fact, the clock is ticking for City Hall to achieve its federal housing target, which would unleash millions of additional dollars for housing programs.
We have some targets that we have to hit in September to get another $20 million from the Housing Accelerator Fund from the federal government.
Councillor Steve Lehman believes the development charge reduction will spur housing starts, but not until developers start applying for building permits again.
The federal government and the province have done the right thing in addressing that, but they got to follow through and come through with the details so we can get shovels in the ground.
CTV News is awaiting a response from Ontario's Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing about the timing of the DC reductions. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
Members of the local Indigenous community gathered at Alopecia Family Healing Services today to mark Red Dress Day.
Red Dress Day is to remember and to acknowledge all of the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls and two-spirited people. It's a day to really grieve and to come together as a community and support one another. It's important because it's genocide across Canada that our women are experiencing and our two-spirited people are experiencing. It's something that needs to be talked about, and as hard as it is and the harsh reality of it, it's something that needs to be brought to light. Indigenous women are going missing every single day, and it's not talked about. It's one of those things that, you know, you have to kind of come out to these types of events to hear what's going on so that you can have a better understanding. We're very open to, you know, people coming and supporting and coming together and just, you know, giving us the chance to just talk and to just share our stories and share our perspective on how life is out there.
When we come back, Canada's next Governor General. Details on the Prime Minister's appointment representing the King amid a new world order. Plus, stranded at sea, the latest on passengers trying to get themselves off an infected cruise ship. Welcome back. Prime Minister Mark Carney announced Canada's next Governor General today. Louise Arbour is a former Supreme Court Justice and United Nations Commissioner for Human Rights. With more on her resume, here's Judy Trin.
In choosing Louise Arbour as Canada's next Governor General, the Prime Minister recognized her dedication to upholding the law.
It's a duty that calls for sound judgment, deep learning, and an unwavering commitment to the rule of law.
The 79-year-old is a former Supreme Court Justice who left her deepest mark on the global stage. She served as the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights and prosecuted war crimes in international tribunals. Arbour secured a conviction against perpetrators of genocide in Rwanda and indicted the leader of the former Yugoslavia.
In 1999, in the middle of a war, she signed the indictment of a sitting head of state, Slobodan Milosevic, for crimes against humanity and violations of the laws of war.
The appointment comes as the U.S. undermines global institutions. This is a reminder of what sets Canada apart.
Above all, we all strive to provide for each other in a spirit of equality and generosity.
Arbor's deep resume may help Carney avoid his predecessor, Justin Trudeau's problematic choices. Julie Payette was accused of abusing Rideau Hall staff, while Mary Simon, the first Indigenous Governor-General, is not fluent in French. But in a constitutional monarchy, as the King's representative, Arbor may not get support in Quebec, even though she speaks French and was born in Montreal.
The symbol in itself carries the idea of Canadian unity, but democracy in Quebec also carries the idea of Quebec independence.
Separatist voices are also growing louder in Alberta. Arbor promises to be a unifying force.
I think there is a space for the Governor-General to be conducive of Canadian dialogue with respect to diverse. I've mentioned the diversity of our people, diversity of views, of opinions, of experiences, but all that, I think, in a spirit of respect and moving the country forward.
Louise Arbour will officially assume her role as Canada's 31st Governor-General in early June. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
Health officials in this country say there are 4 Canadians trapped right now on a cruise ship which is sat marooned off the west coast of Africa. 3 people are dead while 3 more are sick in the midst of a rare virus outbreak. With more on today's update, here's John Venevali-Rao.
For passengers stuck on this ship, there remains a sea of uncertainty about when they'll be let off.
All we want right now is to feel safe, to have clarity.
The 147 on board remain anchored off Africa's Cape Verde, with officials now saying 7 possible cases of hantavirus were identified, including 3 deaths.
We have heard from quite a few people, on the boat. We hear you. We know that you are scared.
The WHO says passengers on board are being asked to remain in their cabins while disinfection measures are carried out. Ocean-Wide Expeditions, the company behind the cruise, says the atmosphere on board remains calm, despite the ship not being allowed to dock. On shore, it's a decision some in Cape Verde support. It's good that the ship remains at a distance, this woman says. Port denials are rare, but do happen. Most famously in Japan during COVID. The passengers of the Diamond Princess were quarantined on board for 2 weeks. While this British cruise ship was turned away at the port of Gibraltar in 2020 because of a norovirus outbreak.
I don't think these situations happen very often, but unfortunately, if they do happen, there's not much you can do about it.
Lauren Christie says while the cruise line has a duty of care for its passengers, it also has the same for the ports it's visiting.
And so really, first and foremost, it has to ensure the safety of everyone first. And unfortunately, that might mean that you're stuck on a cruise ship.
The hantavirus is usually spread by rodents, but is now thought to have been carried on board by a Dutch couple who died. Officials think it likely spread on board human to human, which is rare and requires close contact.
This doesn't sound like hantavirus is going to be a major issue on other cruises. This sounds like a sad but very rare event.
Meanwhile, the WHO says Spain has agreed to accept the vessel, but no decision has been made about where passengers will be allowed to disembark. John Venevali-Rao, CTV News, Toronto.
On the desk with Julie now, and today, as far as weather vibes go, a big shift from what we were enjoying yesterday. Not the case today.
Yeah, rain today, and not a lot of rain, but the rain mainly along that northern shoreline of Lake Erie, but unsettled. It's been quite cool across the region, and temperatures will stay cool as we head into tomorrow. Now, that 16 degrees that you're seeing there, it was not 16 this afternoon. That was actually at midnight last night in terms of our low temperature of a +10. That's now down to 9 degrees. At the London airport, the pressure's at 100.8. It's been falling, and the winds are light on the hour at just 4 kilometers. The winds will be picking up a bit tomorrow out of the northwest. That satellite radar showing the rain along the frontal boundary continuing to drive through. Now, a little bit of a wave will come through tonight, and that's why we're leaving that probability of showers in. So a little wave of moisture, this little low pressure system will ride along the boundary, and as it starts to come up towards the lakes, it could push some showers back towards London. So we're leaving in a bit about a 60% chance of showers tonight. North of that, here on Perth, you'll just stay mainly cloudy, gray and Bruce. You've had cloudy with some nice sunny breaks through the day today, and heading through the overnight, mainly cloudy. So again, the rainfall right along that boundary as we head through the overnight. Temperatures holding, not too bad, anywhere between 4 and +6. The winds will be light and variable overnight. Now, where we are seeing some heat is in through the interior of British Columbia. Lytton, BC, 31 degrees late this afternoon. So just some beautiful hot conditions. They are generally one of the hottest spots in the country. As we push across the prairies, we do have some active weather as we move toward northern Ontario, but some single-digit high temperatures through the day today, so quite cool to the north, and that cool air now spreading back over the Great Lakes. You can see where all of this warm heat is bottled up towards the southern U.S., but this big trough in place over the Great Lakes, keeping us cool and quite unsettled. So as we head out 36 hours, you can see the showers lingering, but by tomorrow morning, mainly cloudy, and we'll start to see some nice breaks. We'll bring a nice mix of sun and cloud in as we head into the afternoon, and then as we head into your Thursday, some sunshine as well. So some nice conditions. The probability of showers will drop down to a 30% chance over the next couple of days. So as we look to Thursday, you can see a mix of sun and cloud. Thursday evening, we could see a few very isolated showers develop. But other than that, we should get through most of Thursday nice and dry. So your forecast tomorrow, a bit of cloud cover to contend with first thing in the morning, but back into a mix of sun and cloud in the afternoon. And yes, lots of sunshine on the way. The high 12 degrees. As we head toward Thursday, a mix in 13. Some cooler overnight lows coming our way. And then Friday, the chance of showers, probability of about a 40% chance. 19 degrees as we head into Saturday. So things warming up, and the probability of showers just at a 40% chance, and that'll be our web story on Sunday for Mother's Day, a 40% chance of showers. Now that is a low probability, not expecting an all-day rain. We could just squeak out a few light showers. So late Thursday, possibility of a pop-up shower, and then Friday, Saturday into Sunday, a 40% chance of rain, and that could flip back and forth. Monday into Tuesday, here's where things start to shift. So by Tuesday, 18 degrees and mainly sunny. And yes, we are expecting some warmer conditions heading through next week. So a little bit of time to get there this week. We'll do it with some sunshine tomorrow. Mix of sun and cloud here on Perth. Grey Bruce, you have some nice conditions over the next couple of days with some sunshine on Thursday to a mix. And then the risk of showers Friday, Saturday into Sunday. But again, I want to reiterate the probability is only a 40% chance. So this is not an all-day rain. There'll be lots of dry time as well, Carlyle, to be able to get outside. It's seemingly our weekends have been, we've been putting the rain in the weekend time, which is not ideal, I know, for people wanting to be outdoors. So hopefully the chance will start to drop off as we edge closer. But again, just a slight probability. So that'll be just some passing showers moving through.
All right, Julie, thanks very much. Still ahead, going to court over craft beer. The Quebec brewer accused of marketing candy-flavored alcohol to children. And also coming up later in the newscast, it's Behind the Lights with Lauren Stallone. What are we talking about this week, Lauren?
Well, we're speaking to another social media content creator who has alopecia and is giving us a little bit of insight into how she built her own community.
All right, that's coming up. Stay with us.
In case you missed the big announcement today, some of our favorites, the Reclaws and Dean Brody, are coming to the Forest City.
Yeah, they're going out on tour together. They're going to be stopping at Centennial Hall this November, and we've got your first chance to win tickets tomorrow morning at 7:10.
Gas prices are expected to rise again tomorrow. Industry analysts are predicting a 7-cent per litre jump overnight, pushing most Ontario stations to about $1.96 a litre. They also say diesel should rise 5 cents a litre, all related to the ongoing conflict between the U.S. and Iran in the Strait of Hormuz.
Every day your prices go up, you'll hear a comment from the U.S. administration saying they will do this or they will do that regarding the Straits of Hormuz. The bigger issue is the amount of shortage that we have, a supply shock. It's 1.2 billion barrels that have been accumulated that we have to try to catch up on. It's going to take a long time to do that. In the meantime, it means higher prices as we head towards the $2 a litre threshold, and that's likely just around the corner.
Consumer experts say algorithms and dynamic pricing are becoming more common in Canada, with the cost of products fluctuating more frequently and in some cases by a significant amount. With more on the warning for shoppers, here's Pat Foran.
Whether you're looking for a coffee pot or big-ticket purchases like appliances and mattresses, prices will fluctuate. There's been a lot of discussion about dynamic pricing, changing prices based on demand, but retail analyst Bruce Winder says that's not new.
If you get your weekly flyers, you'll see prices go down for a week and then they'll go back up. And then maybe 6 weeks later, they go down again.
Consumer Reports just tracked 16 popular products to give shoppers a clear picture of how prices rise, fall, and fluctuate. Take this Shark vacuum.
1 week it was like $119, and at its peak it was close to $200. So it would swing by $40 or $50 a week. We're seeing it with baby products, a lot of clothing and footwear.
While some retailers are experimenting with surveillance pricing in the U.S., where consumers are charged different prices based on their personal data, Winder feels it won't be prevalent in Canada.
Charging consumers different prices because they're different consumers is taboo. The reputational damage to the company would far eclipse any margin gain.
If you're trying to save money on electronics, consider buying an older model. TVs, phones, and laptops that are a year or two old can cost hundreds less. And consider refurbished products.
They take it, they clean it up, they replace parts, and you get it with a new 1-year warranty. I mean, there's no better deal in my mind than getting a refurbished item.
Certain items also go on sale at specific times of the year. AI can help research that. If you can hold off on a purchase, you could save money.
And you might find out that this is one of the items that is really used aggressively on Black Friday or Cyber Monday or Boxing Day, right? And if you can, you might wait.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
A Montreal bar owner says he's been unfairly targeted by Quebec's Alcohol and Gaming Commission. Provincial authorities are accusing him of marketing to minors because he makes specialty beer that tastes like candy. Matt Gilmore reports.
Martin Guimont has been brewing beer at Le Saint-Boc for 20 years. He says during the pandemic, he started infusing his beer with candy flavors to attract a different kind of clientele. And it's been a big hit.
People like this kind of beer. It's different, but there's a market for people who don't like beer and want to have like a beer taste candy.
It's a trend that other major breweries are hopping on as well. Coors has released a line of slushy-flavored seltzers, and the SAQ is now selling a popsicle vodka soda. That's why Guimont was surprised when Quebec's Alcohol and Gaming Commission accused him of marketing his products to minors.
They've never been sued, but me, yes. I'm brewing beer since 20 years. We will never brew alcohol for children. See, it's 18 and more, that's the law.
The Alcohol Commission did not return our request for an interview, but in an email obtained by CTV News, its lawyers informed Guimont that they believe that the names of the products, their colors, the images on the cans, and in some cases the way the product is presented, for example, adding candies to the glass before serving the beer, are factors that make it likely that the advertisements could encourage a minor to consume these alcoholic beverages. The email refers to a video Le Saint-Boc posted to its Facebook page, illustrating that one of its beers is infused with the popular candy Nerds. Guimont says he rejects the idea that candies are only meant for children.
Nerds is for everybody. And even if I'm doing alcohol, buy your beer in your adult section and bring it to the case and pay, and it will check your ID, and it's for adult.
The ordeal has already cost Guimont $5,000 in legal fees, a bill that he says will likely rise to $50,000 or $60,000.
It's the playoff right now, so it's a rare moment in the year I will be able to do a little bit of money, probably to get some for the winter time, but I won't have some because I will have to give it to my lawyer.
If Guimont is found guilty by the commission of violating Quebec's liquor license law, he could lose his permit to brew. Matt Gilmore, CTV News.
Tech stocks like Shopify brought Canada's main stock index down today. The TSX fell 72 points. In New York, the Dow gained 356. The Nasdaq added 258. The Canadian dollar lost a modest 0.03 today. On commodity markets, gold gained more than $35 an ounce, and oil fell $4.15 a barrel. Still to come, federal worker resistance when it comes to a return to their return to office orders. Welcome back. The RCMP have announced several arrests as well as a seizure of nearly $3 million worth of drugs through a major operation in the Toronto area. Police say the 18-month investigation focused on a large-scale money laundering and drug trafficking operation. More than 30 search warrants were executed at multiple locations. Police say 153 kilograms of cocaine, 10 kilograms of heroin, half a kilogram of ketamine, and $1.6 million in cash, as well as an illegal gun, were all seized. 6 people face drug trafficking charges, and police say they're still looking for one more suspect. Toronto police say they're investigating a series of bomb threats across the GTA today. At least 2 schools were evacuated, while as many as 9 others reported bomb threats received. Toronto police have said they don't believe any of the threats were credible, though. The next phase of the federal government's return to office mandate is now in effect. Executives are no longer allowed to work from home, which, as Dylan Dyson reports, is raising questions about whether there's even enough space for everyone.
Federal employee Andrew Cormack isn't an executive in the government, but he's at the office regardless.
Yeah, I choose to come in 3 days a week right now, following kind of like the official ruling.
As of Monday, all executives in the public service are required to work in the office 5 days a week as the federal government continues to call its employees back to the workplace, citing a need to boost collaboration and culture.
I think everyone works differently, but you got to look at the value added coming into the office and whether it's there for you or not.
The return to office mandate will see more than 9,300 executives back in the office full time. In a statement, the Association of Professional Executives of the Public Service of Canada says executives are concerned about the lack of office space and the pressure of leaving employees during continuous workplace change. As of July 6th, all other federal employees will be required to work in the office 4 days a week, up from the current 3 days.
I rarely personally see, I do interact with people at the office, but it's a very minimal basis. And the majority of my time collaborating with my teammates is just through Teams.
For me, I think 3 days a week, 2 days a week would be a happy medium. 4 days might be overkill, but that's just my personal experience.
The push to bring workers back to the office, creating concerns over desk space and parking.
Mentally preparing for it, not excited about it, but I know it's happening.
I think one thing I'm not for is an umbrella, one-size-fits-all kind of approach to RTO.
Dylan Dyson, CTV News.
A second drug that could slow the progression of dementia in some patients has been approved in Canada. The drug is called donanemab. Its creators say it removes amyloid plaques from the brain. If those plaques build up, they can cause cognitive and memory problems. Health Canada had previously approved lecanemab last October for similar purposes. Neither drug is considered a cure for Alzheimer's. It could allow patients to remain in milder stages of the disease for longer, though, slowing progression. Access is limited, though, because of their cost in Canada and the lack of coverage available. Tomorrow on CTV News, the future of Fanshawe. The college's president holds a town hall for employees amid recently announced program cuts and job losses. Tomorrow on CTV News at 6.
Temperatures on the cooler side over the next couple of days, but some sunshine to get us through. Thank you to Ethan, who took this photo last night downtown London. We had some thunderstorms rumbling through. Quieter conditions overnight with showers ending.
Vancouver police say they're now investigating after someone riding a jet ski hit a gray whale last night. The video shows the whale surfacing and spouting before the jet ski hits it. CTV News has chosen to freeze the video, though, to avoid showing you the moment of impact. Witnesses say the whale had been feeding in the area for the past week.
It was awful to watch, to be honest. I have a lot of concern for both the whale and the person. Right afterwards, there was 2 sailboats in pretty close to the man. And he yelled out saying, "I need help."
Watercraft are required to stay at least 100 meters from whales in Canadian waters. Police say the person riding the jet ski was taken to hospital with serious injuries. 3 young people in Ottawa earned recognition this week for taking action during an emergency. They each received an award for calling 911 and following instructions when it mattered most. Josh Morano reports.
When 11-year-old Kaylee Nathu's grandfather fell and hit his head, she knew she needed to act fast and be brave.
When you're calling 911, don't hesitate. You just have to do it.
On the other line, a dispatcher who helped Nathu stay calm and asked questions before help arrived.
They're explaining to me what to do and to get a cloth to put on my grandpa's head to put on the cut.
She was calm, cool, and collected, like a lot of people are not in that kind of situation. But she followed the directions very well.
A scary situation for Nathu until first responders arrived, but her parents say they're proud their daughter knew who to call.
She was able to call 911 and she knew she needed to help. So we're so proud of her that she was able to do that.
That bravery being recognized by the city at the Children's 911 Achievement Awards, honoring Nathu, 12-year-old Chrisley Dana Julsain, and 11-year-old Reem Alamad Alassan for their quick thinking during an emergency.
I was pretty scared and nervous, but I decided to stay calm.
Julsain called after her cousin fainted while at a birthday party.
They were telling me like instructions and telling me like what to do, and then I was following and listening closely so I could actually save her life.
And Alamad Alassan dialed 911 after she noticed her 5-year-old sister having trouble breathing.
My sister has an asthma.
Staying on the phone with paramedics, translating for her mother.
My English has improved and like I know what to say all the time. I'm gonna like answer all the questions so easily.
The award recognizes youth ages 12 and under who effectively used 911 in a crisis.
They were also not only able to call 911, but to tell us where they are, what is going on, answer our dispatchers' questions.
Nathu hopes her bravery will help other kids if they need to call 911 in an emergency.
If you don't call, maybe they can't get the help that they need or that you need, and you need to call so you can get the right help.
Josh Morano, CTV News.
And on the other side of the break, it is Behind the Lights with Lauren Stallone. We've got a special guest coming in, Lauren, talking about something that I'm a proponent of. Bald is fine. Bald is great. You can embrace it. And that's a big part of the conversation we're having on the other side of the break.
And that is exactly what our guest is doing. She's embracing herself, embracing this disease that she's been faced with, and inspiring other people who are also going through the same journey.
Embracing the bald is coming up. Stay with us.
London's top stories.
We have breaking news tonight out of Ottawa. The latest in the
breaking news alerts.
I'm tracking an area of severe weather. It'll start.
And watch live.
A development now to a story from City Hall we brought you.
Download the CTV News app.
And before we go tonight, it's Behind the Lights with Lauren Stallone. Julia's here, and we also have a special guest, Lauren.
That's right. This is Marcy Gallant. Marcy, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, you are a local social media content creator as well as an alopecia advocate. So why don't you tell us a little bit about alopecia for anyone who it might not be familiar?
Yeah, absolutely. So alopecia is an autoimmune condition. It can develop at any age. You're born with like a gene, and you can go your entire life without that gene being activated, but it's an environmental factor, so it can affect anyone. And I have alopecia universalis, so it just looking at myself on there. It affects my entire body basically, but there are different lengths and severities of alopecia.
And some of our viewers will be familiar if they're of a certain age, maybe, because Brent Lale, our reporter, has alopecia as well. He's been very open about his journey with it. And I'm curious about, from maybe a younger generation, your perspective on it and what you've learned through this experience of sharing it all through social media.
Yeah, I mean, the intention behind starting the Art of Alopecia was never to get to this point. I really just wanted to create a space where I could share my story, you know, showcase the positive light of alopecia, you know, embrace my authentic self, and to empower others through their journey, because representation in community is something that lacked when I was a kid. I didn't really see anyone who looked like me other than, you know, people who were portrayed as, you know, potentially sick or an alien. Bald women always played an alien. So that's why I wanted to start the Art of Alopecia, because it is truly my art form, because I have so much fun with, you know, rocking different hairstyles. And yeah, I've found such a beautiful community on social media.
That's amazing. Good for you. And I know that you've posted some of the wigs that you've been showcasing. Talk to us about that community and what that has been like, just having fun and expressing yourself.
Well, unfortunately, wigs were not what they were like when I was a kid. I was wearing a helmet as wigs. So I think the incentive behind, you know, talking about wigs and educating people on wigs is so that they can basically like prevent making the same mistakes that I did. You know, it took me a series of probably like 7 years to find what a good quality wig looked like. So by sharing all of these different wig tricks and like different cap constructions, you know, some wigs are meant for some people, some other forms of alopecia, or honestly, wigs actually are for everyone. And I just want to, I'm sorry, I'm like going on this, yeah, I'm like, I just want to normalize the process of wearing hair, because it's like, you know, people get Botox and I wear fake hair, but it's actually human hair for the most part.
Well, what you're doing is amazing and so brave too, to be able to share your story and be a voice for people who may not be able to do that.
I'm a big fan of normalizing baldness.
Yes.
I know some of yours may recognize the fact that I did not look like this when I took this job. I had been going through months and months of back and forth. The bald subreddit was a big push for me to embrace the bald, and yeah, so it's a journey, and I'm happy to be on it.
It is definitely a journey. You know, it's, you know, everyone is entitled to making their own decision whether they want to do treatment. And trust me, I did all the treatments growing up, but it got to a certain point where I was like, enough is enough. There is nothing inherently wrong with me. I am perfectly healthy for the most part. And now I just want to live my life, live my best bald life, and rock different wigs.
That's amazing.
You're rocking it. All right, well, thanks so much, Marcy, for coming in. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
That's it for us on this edition of CTV News at 6. We'll see you again tomorrow. Have a good night.